All right. So I'll work with you. I'll work with you the best that I can. I'll be honest with you. I'll be upfront with you. I'll let you know what's going on as I find out. I don't want you to be. I don't want you guys. I don't want to surprise you guys or anything like that. I tell you what I know when I know it, and that may not be much. So bear with me, okay? All right. So what we're going to do today. You guys do have some notes. You guys do have some notes today, okay? The causes of World War One. All right, that's where we are starting. So I did ask you to get a notebook for this class. I do ask you to write the notes. Because honestly, I have a lot of different reasons for this. One is because there's a lot more that goes on up here when you are making that like mind and body connection when you are physically writing versus typing, because every keystroke is the same. You know what I mean? It's just a different symbol. But every, when you're writing, you're creating new symbols, and that has a different impact on your mind. You remember things better if you write them down, believe it or not. That's one reason. Two is I want this to be as normal, quote unquote, as possible, as per use as possible. So I do want you to write notes. You don't have to write them right now, though. You can write them after. You can just listen right now. That's fine with me. It's up to you. It's really up to you. But we are going to go over our notes on the causes of World War One. And I will, when we have our notebook quizzes, I will ask you to take pictures of your notes, just so I know that you're keeping up. This is for two reasons. One, I know that you're keeping up. Two, I know that you have the right material, right? Sometimes people will say, well, that wasn't in my notes. And I'll check on the notes that I give you, on Google Classroom, and they're there. And sometimes I wonder how people miss them. And I also have people that don't know what our quizzes are on either sometimes. So that's one of the reasons. So I know that you have the right material. I know that you're keeping up. In a regular semester, I would never ask to see your notebook. I don't ask that. That's not something that I do. The reason I don't do it is because I can figure that out as we go on. I can just kind of glance around and figure out who's doing, who's writing and who's not. If you're not writing anything, well then I know that you're not doing it. So I do need you to have the material, okay? And that helps with not only helping you remember, it also helps so I know that you have the correct things to study for quizzes, tests, etc. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and look at our notes. Would you rather me... Do you want me to... yeah, I guess I'll present this. Does it slow down when I present? Is that what you said yesterday? The, I guess, processing speed, kinda? Yeah, not for me. Okay, so we'll do this then, okay? We'll do this. If you can pull up the notes, or if you can look at the notes and just kind of listen to me, we can do that, and I'll just pull them up. It's different for everyone. Okay. We can just follow along. Okay. We'll try that. And we'll see how it goes, okay? This is all trial and error. Let's just be honest. It's all trial and error. All right, so I'm going to pull up the notes. I'm going to talk about them. If you can pull them up as well, that would be great. Again, you can write them now. You can do this later. It's up to you. Whatever works best for you. I know some of you, like Levi. Levi's driving right now, but he doesn't have his hands on his phone. He just wanted some good, I don't know. What would this be? It's kind of like a class podcast almost. All right, so causes of World War One. I'm pulling this up now. So if you... Yeah, you just wanted some good driving, something good to listen to when you're driving, man. All right.
Yeah, we're going in a Mexican place right now, so...
You're going in what?
Cameron wanted Mexican food.
So you're going to be listening to this when you're eating?
It's like takeout, so we're just going to go in and order. I might leave you in the truck for a minute.
Yeah, what? All right, you know what? See you, Levi. All right. All right, so causes... Huh? All right.
I'll be back.
Okay. All right, so causes of World War One. All right, so I've got the notes up right here. Again, I hope that you do as well. Our first slide, you see that... Oh, Well, hold on. This is taking a second for me now. All right. Let's see. Causes of World War One. So yesterday's assignment was a little bit of background because again, we need to understand the geography. We need to understand what countries are in Europe because that's essentially that's where this is going to take place. World War One is much more stagnant, much more stagnant than World War Two. World War Two really is global. World War One, there are countries involved from around the world, but essentially it's just happening in Europe. The first, the background image on our first opening slide is of trench warfare. You see soldiers in a trench. This is going to be how World War One is fought. It is going to be fought by trench warfare. Trench warfare is not mobile. It is not mobile. It is you're in the ground for weeks, if not months at a time, and you do not move from there. You do not move from there. Again, for extended amounts of time. So this is not going to be very mobile. Okay. So let's look at the main countries involved. So with World War One, we have two separate quote unquote sides. Okay, we have two separate sides. We have the Central Powers, and we have the Allied powers. This is going to be similar to World War II, but in World War II, we're not going to have the Central Powers. We're going to have the Axis powers. Hey, Mr. T, got to go pick up my car. Okay. Okay, Gage. I see. You raised your hand. Thank you. All right. Yeah, it happens. Okay. So in World War II, we had the Axis and we had the Allied powers. In World War I, we had the Central Powers and we have the Allied powers. Now, the Allied powers are pretty much going to stay relatively the same. World War I leads to World War II. I know we talked about that yesterday. But you're going to have many of the same countries involved, or at least some of the same locations involved, because some of these countries are not going to exist after World War One. So you see a lot of flags on this page. These are some of the flags of the countries that are involved. So we have the Central Powers of Austria-Hungary. Austria-Hungary, that is that first flag. I guess there's one flag just kind of floating out there at the top. That's Bulgaria. So let's knock it out. That's Bulgaria. The first flag that you see, that is the flag of Austria-Hungary with the two crowns on each side. Austria-Hungary were combined. There were kingdoms of both. They combined into one country, one empire called the Austro-Hungarian Empire. The second country that is involved is the German Empire. The German Empire. Hold on. No, my bad. That flag that's floating out there is not Bulgaria. I knew I said that wrong when I looked at it. That is Belgium. Let's throw Belgium down below a little bit. Oh, man, I got to fix this. All right. Let me fix something real quick. This looks like a cluster. All right, so the second flag that you see is that of the German Empire. Now, this flag is going to go through a lot of changes. There ain't really much. In terms of notes today. We're keeping this pretty simple. So let's see. So the German flag is going to go through a lot of changes. I think you understand what I mean by that. Like the symbols that you see are not going to be the same symbols that you see in World War II. But the German Empire is expanding. The Ottoman Empire, the one that you see with like the moon there, that is the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire, they are, this is like modern day Turkey and like kind of some of the surrounding areas right there. The Ottoman Empire was very old. It had been there for let's see. Ottoman Empire was created, I think, right in like the 1200s. I could be wrong on that, but it had been around for quite some time. The Ottoman Empire will cease to exist after World War I. We also have Bulgaria, who is on the side of the Central Powers. Now, for the Allied powers, we have We have Britain. That is that first flag that you see. You recognize Britain's flag. You should recognize France's flag. That is the second flag you see. The third flag you see is that of Russia. Russia is going to go through a lot of changes during World War I. Russia is not going to be involved in World War I in its entirety. Russia is going to fight its own civil war known as the Russian Revolution, beginning in 1917, and Russia is not going to continue fighting in World War I after 1917. And we'll talk about the Russian Revolution. Don't you worry. Serbia is the next flag that you see. Serbia is going to be at the very forefront of World War I. Even though Serbia is a very small country, Serbia is going to be, well, as we'll see in our timeline here in just a second, they're going to play a very large role in World War I. The next flag that you see is Italy. Italy, green, white, and red. You see that it is again also a monarchy, as a kingdom, which is why you see this part. It was this was like the Holy Roman Empire, like very after the fall of it. But you see some of the same symbols there with the cross, and you have the crown above it. Belgium is the flag that we had to move out of the way a little bit. Black, yellow, and red. And then the last flag we'll see on slide 3 is that of the United States. I'll let it take up its own slide, All right. So those are the countries that are involved in World War I. Now, with America doesn't get involved in World War I until 1917. There are several reasons for that, and we will discuss why it is that America stays out of World War I to begin with, and why they do end up joining in World War I. Essentially, America takes the place of Russia. Okay, America takes the place of Russia. When Russia backs out, it is very soon after that America joins. And again, there's different reasons for that we will discuss at a later time. I don't want to bombard you with too much information today. Again, this is our first class, mainly our first class together. In terms of like notes, in terms of like real instruction. Okay. So let's look at the background. So this is slide 4. Let's look at the background. Let me turn my lights back on real quick. I don't like sitting in the dark if I don't have to. There we go. All right. Let's look at our background real quick. So there are 4 main causes. Whenever we get done with the map activity, do we just take a picture of our results? That is, yeah, you do. You can take a picture like with your phone. You can screenshot on your computer. It really doesn't matter to me as long as I can see what you got and the time that you got as well. Okay. All right. Back to slide 4. So slide 4 is these are considered like the 4 main causes of World War I. The first cause that we're going to talk about is, excuse my nose is itching, is imperialism. So what is imperialism? You've heard this term before. At least you should have through some of your different history classes that you've taken. I think you might have heard about this in English class. I don't understand that completely, but different day. Imperialism. So this is the policy of extending a country's power by diplomacy or by force. Okay. So first, we need to understand this is about extending power. How does a country extend power? Largely, a country extends its power by land, by acquisition of land. And this is what we see that is happening in Europe. Now, one thing that I hope that you saw from yesterday with our map activity is that Europe is small. Dude, Europe is the smallest continent. That poses a lot of problems. You have a lot of countries on a small continent. So you have this, again, let's talk about the continent of Europe. You have this piece of land in which there are a lot of fragmentations of that. And so by trying to acquire, like, look, some of the countries you saw are like the size of freaking, I don't know, how big is, somebody look up the, was it square mileage, I guess, or area? Somebody look up the area of Luxembourg. Somebody look up the area of Luxembourg. This is important because I want us to see. I'm keeping an eye on the chat too. Somebody look up. It can be 3 feet, dude. I mean, you ain't far off, dude. Luxembourg is tiny. It is tiny. Let's compare Luxembourg to like a state in America. Luxembourg. It's probably like 50 square miles, dude. Yeah, somewhere around that. Luxembourg compared to a United State. All right. Okay, I got it. So Luxembourg is, this is in kilometers? Oh, dang it. It is 2,586 square kilometers. I don't know what that means. Kilometers, that's like 1 mile is 2.2 kilometers. 998 square miles. Okay, that helps. Okay, so it says the United States is like 3,803 times bigger than Luxembourg. So like almost 4,000 times bigger. Okay, Luxembourg is 47 times smaller than New York. 47 times smaller than New York. What state is the closest? Oh, here we go. Rhode Island is 3.6% larger than Luxembourg. Rhode Island is 3.6% larger than Luxembourg. Okay. Now, the reason that I bring this up is because you have a variety of different countries in Europe, ranging in size. And so these countries that already have land, what they are trying to do is they're trying to extend their land. Now, why is land important? Why is land important? And Luxembourg is a country. Yeah, you're right. Now, here's the thing. Why is land important? Now, I have an equation. I call it the power equation. So here's the reason that countries want more land. So the reason the country want more land is because when you have more land, well, more land equals more resources, more natural resources. That could be in terms of like lumber. That could be in terms of like gold, because again, that's where gold comes from, out of the ground, out of the land. Oil, what have you, any type of natural resource. So more land gives you more resources. Okay, what do countries do with those resources? Well, they sell those resources for money. So more land equals more resources, which equals more money. Now, why do countries want more money? Well, when you have more money, well, now you have more power, more. You can increase your military power that way. You can increase your economic power that way. So more land equals more resources equal more money equals more power. And then I guess even on top of that, when you have more power, so when you have a strong military, when you have a strong economy, you know what else you have? You have more influence. And influence is probably the most important thing that you could have as a country, because when you have influence, you don't even have to use your military. You don't even have to, you don't have to, you really don't even have to use your economy. Just the sheer your actions, the actions that your country takes, the doctrines that your country have, they influence other countries to act in similar ways. That's true power. Brute force, brute military force, that's good, in a sense, but that's temporary. That's what Germany, that's what the Nazi Germany had. It had brute military force, but it didn't have true influence. Influence, that is what countries seek, and that is what like the United States, like we have influence around the world to where, it's not like we're fighting in, it's not like, now we've been in a lot of wars. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, it's not like we have to go to war with every country that we have a disagreement with, because we have influence, because other countries know, of like the power our military has. They know of the economy that we bring to the international stage. That is influence. When countries will follow you without you having to use any of that power against them, that is influence, and that's why countries won't land. And that's where that's what was going on in Europe at this time. Is these countries are trying to extend their power through diplomacy. Diplomacy is through like negotiation, or by force, Now, how would you negotiate more power or negotiate, extending your land? Well, this is pretty simple. Here's the thing. So if Germany wants to expand and they want to take Luxembourg, they could give them an ultimatum. This is what the Romans used to do. The Romans, the reason they became so large is because they did have such a strong military that they would go to these towns, these villages, these city states, and they would say, look, you've got two options. You can join us, join the Roman Empire, and pay taxes and adopt our culture and our customs, and everything will be the same. Like, you can live your life, we won't bother you, or you can try and resist us and try to defeat us, and we will destroy your entire city and everyone in it. So your choice. Now, if you are a country like Luxembourg, if you are a small country that does not have much in terms of like military, or that is just geographically at a disadvantage, then, well, you don't have two choices. You have one choice, or annihilation. So again, that's kind of how that works through diplomacy. It's not very diplomatic, but that is how it happens. Secret alliances. So this is primarily Russia, Germany, and Austria-Hungary. They were creating an alliance among themselves. This itself was called the Triple Alliance. Now, one of the things you probably see right off the bat is that these three countries aren't necessarily on the same side of World War I. Russia, Germany, and Austria-Hungary, while Germany and Austria-Hungary are part of the Central Powers, Russia is not. But Russia had been creating an alliance with Germany and Austria-Hungary. Russia in both World War I and World War II is essentially kind of playing both sides to an extent. We'll talk about this in World War II. Like Russia and Germany, like Soviet Russia and Nazi Germany had a pact not to invade each other, like going into, like, in the beginnings of World War II. It wasn't until Hitler backed out on his promise, that things blew up. Russia has, kind of been not necessarily on the fence, but they're kind of playing both sides of this war. And they'll continue to do the same in World War II. Maybe honestly, that practice of kind of playing both sides is going to be a large cause of the Cold War. All right. So the third cause of World War I is militarism. So this is the increased expansion of the military. Again, its influence over policy and a race to increase weaponry and technology. That is how, again, imperialism, you are extending a country's power by diplomacy or force. Force is the easier way, right? Diplomacy, you got to have some tact. You've got to have, this isn't like, it's not just whoever's more powerful. This is a little bit trickier. You got to have like good politicians, and it's hard to come by those. Building a military is much easier. It may not be as efficient, because you're losing lives, you're spending money, but it's more effective. So this race to increase the military, and I'll tell you this, you want to know the biggest, let me fix my mic real quick. There we go. So the reason that the military and this militaristic, the reason why this is happening at this certain point in time is due to the industrial revolutions of the late 1800s. So there's two industrial revolutions in the 19th century, like the early 1800s and the late 1800s. The late 1800s, what we start seeing out of that is we start seeing more advanced weaponry. We start seeing rifles, not just like, like the, not like muskets like that had been used in, you know, the earlier years, but we're starting to see like automatic weaponry. Uh, we're starting to see airplanes. Again, the first airplane was flown in North Carolina in 1903. It would take that the first airplane flew for like 70 seconds. That happened in 1903. By 1914, you were going to see planes in combat. War is a driving force for technology. We wouldn't have a lot of the technology we do if we weren't at war or preparing for war with other countries. And that's not just us, the United States. That's all countries around the world. War and technology are both. It's hard to separate them. Like, think about all the surveillance equipment that like the government has today, all the surveillance technology they have today. Why do they have that? It's not to keep you safe. It's not to keep you safe, like, it's not for you to be able to like watch other people that you are, living around. It's not for that reason. No, it's for surveillance of other countries and to keep you safe from other outside forces. Now, do I think there's some internal surveillance that goes on? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely do. But again, if we weren't preparing for war, or at least being ready if war was to break out, then our technology would not advance as rapidly as it does. Technology has advanced more in the past probably 30 years than it did in the previous 100 years. It's incredible. It really is. Golly, when I was growing up, we still had freaking, like TVs. If you bought a big screen TV, like that was a big thing. Like I remember in 1995, my dad bought a big screen TV. And like, dude, that thing weighed like 500 pounds. Now you can buy a TV that's like, I don't know, twice that size, and it weighs like 50 pounds that you hang on your wall. It's just going to keep getting. I mean, dang, dude, we didn't even like when I was like, I don't even know when. Hold on, let's see. Okay, golly, dude, why is people sending me emails? All right, anyways. All right, anyways. All right. So yeah, militarism, expansion of military, expansion of technology, increasing weaponry. The final cause, and this is the spark that creates the fire. This is the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. He is the Archduke of Austria-Hungary. He was the next in line to be the monarch, the reigning monarch of Austria-Hungary. This assassination was carried out by Serbian nationalists over Austria-Hungary's imperialistic policies. So Serbia is being let's not say invaded, but they're being trampled on by Austria-Hungary, and Austria-Hungary is essentially trying to take Serbia as its own. Right? They're extending they're extending their country into Serbia, and Serbia doesn't like this. Serbia, what a nationalist is someone that stands, that will fight for their country. It's a little bit more. It's a little bit more complicated than just that, but in this terms, is somebody that's going to stand up for their country at all costs. At all costs. These Serbian nationalists, they are the ones that are responsible for the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and that's when things hit the fan. So, this next part of our notes is a timeline, and you can create this however. Yeah, big box TVs. That's what I'm talking about. The next part of our notes is a timeline. You can construct this however. You can construct this like I did. You could do it as a timeline. It's up to you. So on June 28th, that is the assassination of Franz Ferdinand by the Serbian nationalists. This group, the Serbian nationalists, were called the Black Hand. Okay? this was that they had planned this out. And in a motorcade procession, Franz Ferdinand is shot at, and actually a grenade is thrown, and their procession has to take, this is all spotted, and the driver takes off. Well, they end up getting lost, and just so happens they end up at they end up at the wrong spot where there happened to be another Serbian nationalist of the Black Hand, Gavrilo Princip, who would be the would-be assassin of Franz Ferdinand. So Franz Ferdinand is assassinated. Austria-Hungary puts all the blame on the Serbian government. Now, here's the problem. Russia, while they were working on an alliance with Austria-Hungary, they were also an ally of Serbia. So a month later, July 28th, Russia tells Austria-Hungary that they are going to protect Serbia. So now Russia is, again, they're playing both sides of this because they have been trying to develop this strong alliance with Austria-Hungary, but at the same time, they already have an existing alliance with Serbia. So when Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia, Russia prepares to protect Serbia. A couple days later, Germany declares war on Russia because, again, Germany is an ally of Austria-Hungary. Germany had been working to create a working relationship with Russia, but when Russia backs up Serbia, Germany takes that as a slap in the face, so Germany declares war on Russia itself. If this is getting confusing, trust me, it's okay. This is confusing. This all happens in a very small amount of time. What World War I is, this, when everything gets crazy, this is like a bar fight. Now, I know that you guys haven't been in bar fights, nor hopefully have you ever been in a bar. But this, like bar fights, it's just chaos. It's just chaos. I haven't been in a bar fight either. I've been in bars, never in a bar fight. I'm a little bit more civilized than that. At least I hope so. So Germany declares war on Russia. Well, Germany also declares war on France because France is also an ally of Russia and Serbia, and France is preparing to, again, help their allies. So Germany jumps the gun and says, well, we're going to declare war on France. The next day, Germany invades Belgium. Belgium is an ally of Britain and also France. So now Britain has declared war on Germany, and that's on August 4th. The 2 days later, Austria-Hungary finally does declare war on Russia, and then a week later, France and Britain declare war on Austria-Hungary. Again, if that's confusing, don't worry. Here's what it is. It's almost like a high school fight too, like high school beef. And then I'll leave you with this. I know we're running pretty late. All right, so high school fight. You've got two people are getting into it. Well, you're friends with this person, and this might make it more confusing. Everybody has friends in high school, and some of those friends you're gonna hate. Some of those friends you're gonna like that your other friends have. Okay. So it's like everybody's getting into it. Oh, you calling out my boy? Well, I got his back. And it's like, oh, you got his back. Well, I thought we were boys. Well, I guess not, because I got his back because he's my boy. And then it gets out of hand. It spirals out of control. This happens in World War I. World War II is going to be a little bit more simpler in terms of how it begins. But, dude, for like 5 weeks, it's just a constant enemy declaring war on enemy, ally coming to assist ally for an entire month. That is all you see, is just a constant, just spiraling out of control. And Europe is not ready for this. The continent of Europe is not ready for this because they have no idea how deadly World War I is going to be. Okay? They have no idea. Okay? So let's leave it at that for today. I know that was a lot of information at you at one time. I'm trying to keep things short. I like to talk about these and explain them a little bit more in detail. So went a little long today. For those of you that have already turned in your map activity, you're free to go ahead and get off. If you haven't turned in your map activity yet, if you're having some issues with it, stay on. I'll talk to you just for a minute, and then you guys will be good to go. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys later. So again, just those. Hey, thank you, Amari. So just those that have had trouble with your map activity. I just want to talk to you real quick. Because I don't want you to get like I don't want you to like completely like get a terrible quiz grade. Like I'm not evil. I don't want to be evil. I want to help you guys out. Thank you, Patrick. You too, man. All right. Let's see. Okay. So here's what we'll do with our map activity. Okay. If you're having like technological issues, just like especially like on like with the time, because I know here's the reason I did the time part is because I didn't want people to use like their to like pull up to have their map and then okay, that's fine. I didn't want people to like have their map and then just going and doing it exactly by the map. I want you to actually like learn this. I wanted you to learn it. So that's why I put the time aspect to it. If the time part is, if you're having issues with that because of the technological problems or, mainly that, just get it done. Just do it the best that you can and turn that in. I'll take I'll take a couple points off just because I do want to be fair to your classmates. But I'm not gonna make you have like a 30 on a quiz grade. I'm not gonna do that to you. That's not to say I don't want you to learn it because I do want you to learn it. But I want you to do this, and this is where that whole trust thing comes in because I can't see you. This is where the whole trust thing comes in. Again, yeah, if it takes you 3 minutes to do it, then that's fine. But I do not want you to use your map. I do not want you to use your map. I want you to know this. I want you to learn this. And this is where that whole trust thing comes in, right? Because I can't see you. You could lie to me. I don't want you to do that. I want you to learn it. This is where I got to trust you. So let's trust each other. I'll trust you until you give me a reason not to. But once you give me a reason not to trust you, then I can forgive and I can move on. But once I lose trust in somebody, it makes it really hard to get it back. I give you my trust. Here's the thing: I don't make you earn my trust. I give it to you. Yeah, that's fine. Do that. Do that. That's perfectly fine. Okay. But I ask that you do not use your map. Again, I probably won't find out, but don't even risk that because I give you my trust without you having to earn it. Just you signing up and being in this class, I'm going to trust you until you give me a reason not to, okay? So please respect that. Please respect that. I know I can trust you. I know I can trust you. I know other ones, but I can't find the one I on the map. That's the problem. What countries are you guys having problems with?
That Lombard's one?
Luxembourg?
Yeah, that one.
Okay. Yeah, Luxembourg is the smallest one. It's like that big, and it's between France and Germany. It's right below Belgium as well.
I clicked on it and it said it was wrong. And then I clicked on every other one that I haven't chosen and it kept saying it was wrong. So my time was like 10 minutes trying to find that one.
Okay. Let's see. Do you guys want to do it together real quick?
Can we?
Yeah, we can. If you've got time, we can do it together real quick. Let me click present. And if you guys want to stay on and go through this as well, we can go over it together. It's just the time. Okay. Yeah. Nathan, as far as the time goes, just get it to me. It took me like 1 minute and 4 to 5. That's fine. If you do that, that's fine. If it's 64 seconds, I know yesterday I was like, you got to be under 60. If it's 64 seconds, I think you could probably get it under 60. I'll knock like 2 points off. Again, just to be fair to your classmates, okay? But I'm going to hit present now, and then we're going to look at our map together, okay? If you want to stay on and go over together, you're more than welcome to. Chris, I know me and you are going to do this. Nathan, Devin, Andon, you're more than welcome to as well. So I'm going to hit present. Yeah, my entire screen. And then let me go to our map. Dude, I forgot that I'm recording this. That's all right. Okay. So let me go to our map. Let's get this pulled up. Might take me a second now. All right. Yeah, my computer's just being slow. I got one of the old computers, and the fact that I have like I always have like 20 tabs open. I think I only got like probably 15 right now. Okay. Let me make my screen just a little bit smaller so I can see the whole map. Let's see. It's gonna be really hard to find Luxembourg if I make my map smaller. I can still see it. All right, so let's do this. Okay, so now again, these are going to be a little bit different because it's going to go in different order, but we'll do it together. Okay, so I'm going to click restart. All right, so Albania. All right, so let's see. Albania is I struggle with Albania, I struggle with Serbia, and I struggle with Romania. Albania is I thought that's Romania. No, that's Romania, Bulgaria, Albania, Serbia? Or is that Serbia? That's Serbia. Albania. There we go. Struggled. All right, so we got Albania. All right, next is France. All right, France is pretty easy. France is this one right here. Okay. Bulgaria is next. Again, it's Bulgaria and Romania that I struggle with. This is Bulgaria. There we go. All right. Norway. Norway is up here. Click on Norway. Italy. We know Italy. Big boot. Greece. Greece is the one, that's kind of like, kind of disappearing into the Mediterranean Sea, or I guess that's Mediterranean and the Black Sea. A bunch of islands. Denmark. Denmark is this little piece right up here between the German Empire and Sweden. So click on Denmark. Spain. We know where Spain's at. At least we should know. If you've taken American History 1, you should know where Spain's at. There's Spain. Montenegro. Montenegro is this small one right here. So we click on that. The Netherlands. The Netherlands are right here. Click on Russia. Russia's probably the easiest one because it takes up half of our map. Sweden is next. Sweden is up here. United Kingdom, we know where the UK is. Switzerland is right here, smack dab in the middle of France, Germany, Austria, Hungary, Italy. There's a reason why Switzerland stays neutral in wars, is because if they pick the side, well, they're in the middle of everybody. All right, Romania is right here. German Empire is right here. Luxembourg. So Luxembourg is right there. You can barely see it. Can you see that, Carissa? All right, that is Luxembourg right there. Austro-Hungarian Empire is right there. Serbia is right here. Ottoman Empire is right here. Belgium and Portugal. Okay, that took me 2 minutes, 43 seconds. I was going through it with you guys. 15 tabs. Thank you, Devin. I was going through it with you guys. So, yeah, it took me a little bit longer. But, yeah, there we go. The hardest ones for me are those ones like right around this area of like Serbia, Bulgaria, Romania. Honestly, one of the reasons those are the hardest is because those change the most after World War I. And so, I've got to keep in mind exactly what time we're talking about. See, and does that help, Carissa? You can just you can type in the chat or you can speak up. Doesn't matter. Does that help? You want to do it again?
Yeah.
That helps? Okay.
Yeah, now that I can, I figured out how to scroll into where I can see the little ones, it'll make it a lot easier.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, good deal. Thank you, Devin. Technically 14. Yeah. So just knock that out. If you get it under a minute, then you get 100. Then see, Devin. Then boom. If it takes you a little bit longer, then I'll just knock off a couple points just to be fair to your classmates. But it's not going to be much. Okay.
Can we do it as many times as we want to?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's like the whole beauty of this assignment is you can do it as many times as you want to, and I'll take the highest score that you have.
All right, that makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah. All right. Anything else I can help you with?
No, I just got to get this done and finish my questions for philosophy.
All right, sounds good. Well, if you need anything, just let me know, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good day.
Hey, you too.